Sly Fox, Cyclops, you locked in the idiot box. The video slots, broadcasting Waco, Davidian plots. They own YouTube, MySpace. When this ignorant shit gon' stop? They monopolize the news, your views,
Now,
and the channel you choose.
you wanted to, you kind of brought this up a little earlier. You were talking about England, the U.S., France, and how they bombed Syria because they alleged the chemical weapons used by the President Assad. If you could go into that, kind of like break down what that's about and what's that dealing with?
Well, I'm gonna give the breakdown that I'm ready to co-sign from the Syrian girl. She said, and she said almost a year to the day, the similar accusation was made, and that sparked my memory. Remember before, this ain't the first alleged chemical attack. When Obama was in office, and he was, beating the drum. And this might have been longer than you. This could have been 2 years ago. That they was saying, okay, this is unacceptable. He crossed the line, but for some reason, or I think Russia making moves behind closed doors averted any kind of aggressive act. So now Trump is seemingly trying to get the U.S. on that trajectory. But she mentioned also that a week prior, Trump has been doing this about a whole bunch of issues, but he'll make contradictory comments and then will take an action that will bring into question whether he's speaking about policy or just someone else run a policy. Because he say, hey, I'm trying to get troops out of Syria. Then how you go from that to a week later, you join in a coalition to do strategic strikes. And she said there's evidence, there's clear film evidence that the chemical attacks did not take place. And no, I think one didn't take place. And she said there's evidence that it was a false flag on the others. So just to remind some of the viewers, a false flag is when one group or army does an act and put the flag of another force there to misdirect attention as to who the true culprit could be. And that's usually to agitate a situation to their advantage. So she said that there was clear evidence that that was taking place. And another thing she said, why would Assad use chemical weapons when he is winning? And she gave examples of that, of how refugees are beginning to return in mass to certain sections that Assad's forces had secure. And they say, okay, we are, all of us, then why would you do something like that if you're winning? But if you're losing and you need a pretext to flip the table and misdirect, that seems to be a little more of a plausible reason that you would, allege something and take an action that you wanted to take anyway because you're getting ready to lose the whole thing. And this could be your haymaker or your Hail Mary to try to get things back. And then the propaganda game is deep. Now, I don't believe Syrian Girl showed this, but when I was bouncing around, I think CNN might have, or one of the Arab stations, they had a picture of Assad walking to work. The mind, that's what I told you about imagery. They want to say, yeah, he ain't sweating nothing. So he casually walking, I think he's got a briefcase, walks through his palace, opulent palace, like 20-foot ceilings, marble beams. And, he's strolling like he ain't got a care in the world. So clearly that's an image of whatever they think they did, he ain't sweating it. So I know Russia got his back really hard. I wonder what this is really about. She also said they claimed it was chemical camps. She said those surgical strikes were against military. One was a military base. And brothers and sisters, I will get better at this. Instead of just having, partial, I will be writing things down and more clearly. So please continue to be patient with us, in our journalistic, moving forward. But Syrian Girl, I would say go and just see what that perspective is. And don't just go off the large accounts, MSNBC, CNN, ABC, the alphabet soup. Let's go to folks that are on the ground that don't necessarily have a big corporate agenda that they're trying to push.
Yeah. Now, like for somebody who might not know much about all of this, why is Syria so important in this situation? Why is it important to Russia? Why is it important to the United States to even be involved? And why are they generating so much attention lately in the past few years like this?
Now I'm gonna come back to what some of my knowledge is in specific in general. This is a chess piece, man. The extremely powerful, extremely wealthy, The globe is like a chessboard. Now look at what's happened, in Iraq. Look what's happened in Libya. Look at what the drums are trying to get beaten up for Iran. So there's a major positioning and seizing going on in what the quote Middle East. Assad is one of those pieces on the board. But now, Putin and Russia, they want to stay relevant. Now, they're not trying to let them run the table. So Russia is holding down Assad to have some kind of say in the running of natural resources through that region. If you look at the map of that area, Syria is very strategically placed. Same thing I left off Afghanistan. Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan, three Arab states falling in what a 10-year period. I mean, whoa! What are the odds of that happening? So these things have been on the planning board for a while, and they're just moving on that agenda. So it is a chess piece. I think to stay relevant, for Russia to have a horse in the race, Assad is who they have to hold. I believe Assad and also Iran. Because, America's been doing the thing with Iran every so often, looking like they're ready to bum rush them. And then, Russia makes themselves more prominent. So that's kind of like the surface assessment I've made. I wonder how much deeper it goes. They talking about they strike military, but I wonder, was that a nuclear facility? Because they're still trying to suppress the development of nuclear arms. And if that was the case, do they even want the masses to have that as a public discussion? Remember, they're always moving and shifting from the surface information in opposing forces, information from people on the ground, like a Syrian girl, and other sources, direct sources that you can get. And even that you weigh. But that would be the best overview I can say. And this could be, because they're doing it by proxy now. They have limited, bodies and boots on the ground. It's not like, Korea, Vietnam with hundreds of thousands of soldiers. So there is an investment in bodies. But if Russia and U.S. was head on, then you're talking about, okay, the proxy deal is over. And I think both sides are trying to steer away from that. But they're getting as close to that line as possible, from my perspective.
Now, how does because speaking like what you saying that, and just me being a skeptic, how does that tie in with? Because with I guess the conspiracy of Russia rigging the election to make Trump president and things
Mhm.
like that, and then that ties in with Facebook and Mike Zuckerberg and all of these things. If you think about it, and why would is this like a setup for like a World War III, or did they choose Trump to be president as a benefit to Russia? Like, is this because and then how does it affect us? Like here on the ground, like we over here going to the mall, hanging out with our friends, doing whatever. But how does this affect us? At the same time, because they're making all these things happen. But we don't see what's really going on and how it's going to affect us right now. But like you said, major moves are being done. You know what I'm saying? So does that tie in and with Syria and Trump being elected, and so-called the Russians wanted him to be in office, and those sides being played, and then the New World Order? How does all of these things connect? If you just from you looking at it and seeing some of these moves that are made.
Well, I tell you, and see, that's so interesting. That's why I like your questions so much. Now, that question you just asked, I know probably 10 people that's almost like lobbing a baseball up, and they'll hit it right out the park with a whole bunch of answers. And man, and the first I can say, yo, now it got me, my head spinning. No,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
definitely don't know, because there's so many layers, and this thing connects. So I mean, I can speculate on something that could sound interesting, but to know, because I keep telling you, what comes to the public, what we even talking about, really is near where the hard, cold truth is.
Mm,
Because they don't ever want you to know what's down there. That
yeah.
doesn't mean you can't sift and get a little closer to it. But
Facts.
start off with what they're allowing to go out over their media.
Uh-huh.
That's not really match. Sometimes you in a totally different wrong direction based on something else going on that they want. And if there is something going on in the direction that they're aiming you at, you can bet they're shaping that image you have as man, with a sledgehammer, with a scalpel, with everything they need to do to make sure it fits right where they want you to be ready to be. Whether that's a soldier running on somebody's battlefield anywhere on this planet, whether you at your job and they want you to think, oh, this is a good economy, this Christmas, I'm gonna buy some extra gifts. Whatever they want you to think. Believe me, that image that you reading about,
Hmm.
they have a purpose. The next step is reading between the lines. After that, going to other sources and still compare it, contrast it, and then with that, I think you get a little closer. If you start with what I think is the basics that any thinking person has to accept, there is an elite that control. There is a very powerful, and they generally control through three means: the military, the media, and the money. The military, the media, and the money. By controlling those three, they can dictate and pretty much move policies around the world. So
Hmm.
knowing that, then you have to say, okay, what are they trying to achieve here? And which piece are they moving and which is the counter piece? And this,
Mm.
from where I see it right now, the Western, traditional Western, England, France, the US, is moving for the elite, the corporate interests. And Putin right now, he has his own interests, but he is right now the counter. They're like, okay, why is he messing up the game? Let's see what we can. It's almost like gangsters. How much of the operation does he want? How much we got to cut him in on? Let's send a few missiles to do a drive by. Let him know, yo, we not having it. Okay,
Mm.
he might, so it's almost some of that going on. The only unfortunate thing is it's the little people down on the bottom, the
Hmm.
refugees, the people that are starving, that are being killed and maimed and murdered based on this big chess game that are being played layers above them.
And also the manipulation. I mean, to get people to fight your wars, create these scenarios for you and everything like that, to the point where you were talking about false flag earlier, and the first thing that popped in my head was 9/11 happening, and then Patriot Act right
Hmm.
after. You know what I'm saying? And all of these things to now where we're living in like a whole different type of world. But when you look at what the focus is, what are the most important things? Like celebrity is like at the top in the forefront of everything. Celebrity news, I feel like trumps all political news or anything dealing with anything real. Any the hottest new rappers and things like that. These things, you know what I'm saying? The biggest boxing event. Like they say, the distractions is like at a high level where none of these things like matter as much to the people, but these things are happening and these things are going to have major effect on everybody. Like they said, we're moving towards a cashless society. You talk about never using a credit card, but everybody uses a credit card for everything.
Yeah.
Like
So far,
money is almost doesn't really
not.
matter.
Mhm.
Soon, like they said, you'll have a chip and you could control how much money you get. And I seen something in China recently where they was where they was showing like where they were showing this thing. They said China's kind of like the new Black Mirrors. Black Mirrors is like a show that shows how technology is being used, how it's going to be used in the future, and how it's like the dark side of technology, how it's
Mhm.
like negatively impacting people and things like that. And that's what the show focuses on. But in China, it shows how supposedly their economy is getting better because they implemented this chip or something where it calculates everything you do and you get points. The better things you do, the like if you listen to what society's telling you, or the more you listen to what the government has planned, your points go up. So it makes it easier for you to buy a house. It's like credit, but it's like having like a credit chip. So you probably can't even get into a store if your moral credit isn't good enough, Herman Smalls, because they're calculating what you're doing. As opposed to, oh, you cut the line, you just lost -2 points and things like that. I'm not, and these are kind of the things that they're creating for the people, and then they're saying is bringing in the level, or it's bringing the economy up, making people more helpful, or making people work together more because they want that good credit. These good karma credits, I guess you could call it, or things like that. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's like if we're moving towards that, then it's like you're living for these things to rate you as your life, to make you really a puppet to the system, because you want to please the system. The best way is to have all the finer things that the system will allow you to have. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? So, I know that kind of goes a little bit off of that specific topic, but how do you add that into just, seeing where, like, because you said we don't really know where they're going, but like we see what's happening. We
Yeah, yeah,
see
but
things. Yeah,
yeah, there's so
guys.
much in what you just said. Even I mean, it's so many. Even look at China. Look at how we're even discussing what China is. They sound like they're on the cutting edge, man.
That's what I'm
It sound
saying.
like yeah, they are technologically getting ready to lead the world.
Yes.
Now, let's go back 50 or 60 years, maybe 70. Under China's Mao, man. When they was having disaster after disaster. When again, Mao was trying to implement. He had the people's passion. He did rally them. He did make them believe in themselves again. So they were behind him, but he was kind of in some respects making up the rules as he went along. So some of his policies, especially related to food and harvesting, and it was a big fiasco related to rice, where there was this major famine where they lost a couple of million people, man, that starved to death. One of the most horrendous ways to die. But he rebounded from that, still was able to keep trying. And even before China, and this connects Japan, one time it was thought of as a joke when you would turn over a bowl or plate and it was said made in Japan. Even if you go back to some of the older cartoons, that was something they said, what? Man, when the character would give somebody a gift, they would clown it by flipping it over saying, again, right, the course of the bombings. And they were learning about industry. They was making these little trinkets and so they were shipping over these like these 99-cent stores. Those were the major items they were getting great at. Then they started stepping up to electronics. And once they got into there, they started to master it to the point where you didn't want something if it didn't say Sony or Mitsubishi or
Mhm.
Sanyo.
Mhm.
Their name became synonymous with quality and excellence. But
Mhm.
again, look at the people. How did they get that going? Believing in themselves, getting a foot in, mastering it, and then coming back and dominating it. China, again, same thing. They was, China, it was the big wall. Nixon, they didn't know anything. China was more closer to what a North Korea was then. But the doors came down. And now you look at them, they got the best of both worlds, man. Communism and capitalism. So the iron glove of communism, they still have a restricted internet that I believe Bill Gates helped them design. Ain't that interesting? Helping
Yeah.
a communist country design something to block their people, but you trying to push, democracy. So it's all a big global game. They're all on the same team. But again, so now all of that shaping and molding and believing in yourself over the decades. So one of the early, how we come full circle. Herman, do you believe in us? I bet you there was Chinese 30, 40 years ago having that same discussion, man. Man, Hung Yawi, how you think we're going to do this? Wing Long, knowledge of God. What you going to do, Yin Yang? And, I'm being silly. Not purposely. I try to do stand up comedy. I got booed off the stage, so I'm still every chance I get, I try to do. But no, but seriously, I bet you there was Chinese dudes, young. They
Yeah.
were like, yo, we gonna get this together or not? And one of them would say, nah, man, we ain't gonna ever make it together, man. Man, Chinese, man, yo, man, we don't trust each other, man. Man, I don't even want to date Chinese women, man. Yo, man, I mean, it was they had their version. Even Malcolm X spoke about the Chinese Uncle Tom. He said they had to get rid of a whole generation of Chinese Uncle Tom before they got on the march to nationhood. That's how they got where they are now.
Yeah,
And
but
we,
Brother Smalls, they all Chinese over there, man. They don't have the diversity that we got over here. Like, this is like a whole nother level of situation. If anything, a black man's dream is the American dream, and the American dream is a dream that's created by the white man. So it's like, if that's my dream, it's like, God damn. You know what I'm saying? If I want a white picket fence and security and my credit score up, and I'm not saying he's necessarily a bad thing, but in this society, this is what's a good thing. This is what's considered good. You know what I'm saying? You want to make sure your credit up, but this is like whose reality is that we're trying to achieve this high level of success. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like I'm like a conspiracy head because I feel like these things that tell more truth than anything that I watch for the most part. But it's like you get to a certain point, of success. I feel like all our athletes, all these people who are making millions, they can't even make their own decisions with their own money. Because you think about, like they say, these guys make millions, $20 million a year. $1 million in a regular poor neighborhood will change that shit for generations. $1 million, a $500,000. If I had $50,000, I could make change within my neighborhood. Crazy right now. Right
Mm.
now, change so much. So I'm saying, like when I think about it, I'm like, these dudes are making $20 million a year. It's something deeper than what's going on. Like this can't
Right.
just, you know what I'm saying? Like when you get to a certain level, something has to be happening where these people aren't able to make these significant changes. Like I've been watching a lot of Tupac lately. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And he's like some of the things he's saying I thought was just so ahead of his time. Like, cause it's like it applies so much now where he talks about athletes and he talks about people with money and he's like, yo, he said, how the hell are you a millionaire? You got $40 million and there's people literally starving. That doesn't make any sense. There's no way that you have all of this 50 rooms and things like this and people are literally starving, homeless and dying and begging for food. Like there is something seriously wrong with society when you
Mm. Agree.
you know what I'm saying? So it's like, and then when you have black people, we have the NBA is 85% black, 85%. So that means the most money that are being made, billions of dollars generated by black athletes. So you saying
Mm.
none of these dudes ever came with a plan to say, let's just get five of us together and we could change the world? Like these dudes could do that. Like with all this so-called money that they're getting. So to me, it just like goes back to like something is happening beyond just these guys they're just giving money to their whatever donation spots they want to give it to or NAACP or whoever the Purple Heart or I mean all of these people, but then it's not going back. Charity doesn't go to the people that really need it. Right? That was
Mm.
one that Tupac made. He said, "Yeah, these athletes they give back, but that charity don't go to the people that need it. It don't go to the real people who really need it. These people in these neighborhoods, because that type of money in our neighborhoods, we know, will change someone's life. Period.
And
It'll
you
change
know
it.
what's so interesting is about at least two images. Well, the two I say right now while they're fresh in my mind. I saw Takashi's one of I think it's one of his latest videos, and no, it was a story on him. I forgot the community he was in, but he was just giving
Dominican
out.
Republic, Dominican Republic, and he was handing out money.
Okay.
Yeah,
Anybody he saw, he just hit the wall with like a
yeah,
$100
$100
bill.
bills. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, it looked like some of them. There's like they didn't even know if this was a real deal.
yeah.
So, but a beautiful thing, and another brother in our community, our good brother Q Butter. I don't want to go into the story he was going to, but he said if he had a certain a couple of 100,000, he read off a list. He already know who he going to break off.
Yeah, yeah,
Us number 5, so and so over here, Reverend da da da. So this brother said the same thing. You said, you know how much I can do with this amount of money. So I think the people who are on the ground, who know who really need it, knows they ain't take a whole bunch and really turn this situation around,
nope,
man.
not at
No,
all.
all they need is some seed money, and they ready to fly. So why doesn't it not get to them? Why there's so many layers that are collecting checks get money when you do give to charity? I mean that has a criminal element to it, and the bottom keep on suffering, but all this money is coming in.
And
What is going?
no disrespect to nobody who, of course, is rich and work to get to wherever they at, but it's like it makes me feel like you guys are pigeon-toed. Like you guys can't really do what you really want to do with your money. besides buying a brand new $500,000 car or
Right.
getting a super mansion. Because it's like, okay, the material come and go, but you
Oh
do
yes.
some life changing thing that affects the history books. You know what I'm saying? That affects how people look at life and live life in the generations to come. So I feel like, either these guys are so caught up in this fake dream of America, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, even when you're an athlete and all that, they still gonna look at you like, like you're black, regardless of the case, you know what I'm saying? Like to them. So it's like you're still going to be somewhere underneath. You're just another millionaire. And then a lot of these guys go broke and things like that too, which doesn't make any sense. Like I just feel like the whole system is like it's rigged. You know what I'm saying? So even when you get to a certain point where you're making all this type of money, it's like either you're going to be selfishly using it just to do things for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, or you can't even help the people you really want to help because it's a certain level of things that you get to where people control who's giving you this money can control you. And even just to break this down real quick, I'm playing 2K, the basketball game. And then in the basketball game that it's like kind of like sophisticated now where you have your agent, you sign your contract and all this. I signed a shoe deal with Nike and things like that. And in the game, I made a comment in the press conference that was like, I guess, I spoke, a way that they didn't like. And when I went to speak to the Nike representative, my agent calls me. This is all, video game, but the agent calls the guy. I come in the office, and the Nike representatives, they basically talk to me harshly, like they was talking to me crazy. Like, yo, you can't talk like that. We're not giving you this money. You're representing our brand. They talking to me crazy. So I walk out the room or whatever because I'm like, and then I remember in the video game, I'm like, damn, if I walk out, they might take my sneaker deal, and I won't be getting all this virtual currency, so I can make my player better and earn more money. I mean, this is but it's like imagine having to deal with that in a real life scenario though. You know what I'm saying? Knowing
And
that you get millions, $90 million for Nike to give you this, and then you say something in your heart you feel is right, and then they go sit your ass down and they tell you, yo, you want these sneakers, boy? Like you want this? You better watch what you say next time you're in front of these people at the press conference. And it was so that's how I felt. I'm looking at the game like, yo, they talking to me crazy. Like, they talking to me crazy. Like they talking to me like they own me.
now, how popular is that game?
That's one of the most popular basketball games in the world.
So, but look now. Remember, that's why I love our discussions. How so many times they come full circle. Now, remember, we was talking about the conditioning process about a lot of these digital games, and it was one of the bills we did. We wondered how they was producing all these mass shooters, and then we remember it was a Grand Theft Auto
Yeah, yeah, Grand
that
Theft Auto.
that
Yeah,
that simulated murder, simulated rape, simulated dismemberment, and all this stuff, and
yeah.
how these games are played repetitively, and it becomes a conditioning device.
Mm.
Now, go to this present game. So for those, because I'm sure a young athlete is going to be playing that, a high school standout. I mean, what do you think he's going to entertain himself with? That
Facts.
game.
Uh huh.
So we be conditioned to okay. I'm already know that there are boundaries. So you see how many layers this kind of mind control deal
Yeah,
can be going.
yeah. That's deep.
One, we prepare one to be a soldier. We're gonna sell out. That's not gonna have any trouble with killing. Oh, when this superstar athlete, the next LeBron, we ain't even gonna have to raise our voice. He gonna already know what the script is
Hmm.
through through the games that we probably marketed to
That's
that
deep.
community.
That's deep. That's deep.
Yeah, man. I tell you, this is a chessboard, man.
Hmm.
You know, I don't underestimate anything these people might do to maintain power and control. Remember, the money, the media, and the military, they get those on lock. They think they can stay in charge forever.
Mm. And just tying into this last thing I want to get into is just Trump's lawyer. I don't know if you heard about this story. He's kind of like under fire. Um, Let me get his name. Michael Cohen.
Oh, yes.
His office was raided, and if you could give me a little insight. I was reading some of the articles, but I wasn't really too clear on like why they raided him and what the whole situation was from reading the article. But if you could give me, and I seen Sean Hannity was defending him, and then it came out that he was also one of his clients,
Right.
and he was calling it a witch hunt and saying all of these things, but
Yeah,
come
yeah,
to
yeah.
find out, you all in bed together, saying
And,
doing some type of shadiness. So, what's your thoughts on that situation? And if you could give me a little insight on what you understand that it is.
yeah, mm,
Oh no, no,
yeah.
no. Go ahead.
Okay. Even even with Hannity, we don't. I don't know if we can automatically call it shadiness, but at very least, it's disingenuousness. You
Okay.
representing yourself as a journalist,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
again, field that I'm really gaining so much respect for as I take my baby steps in it. So you on a major network as a news reporter, journalist, supposedly biased, but we know Fox and all that stuff. But at least the pretense of being impartial should be there. So now Rich Hunt, and this is literally the person you're doing a story about. It's who's you got a business relationship with.
Facts,
So,
facts.
so how much of a contradiction can there be? Now, this thing related to Cohen, I heard it was a little bit, but it wasn't just his home. I heard they raided a storage facility. They raided
Hotel.
his hotel and off in office, and so they was
You
going
said
after
his
everything.
mistress as well?
No, in office, his home, a hotel, and in each place they took documents, they took electronic devices, laptops. So one of the acts I'm garnering through media is that Trump tried to get a stay before they could go into start retrieving, I guess, and the judge said no. He said up until this point, I don't know if he has other legal recourse, but his first attempt at halting them, saying, client privilege with his attorney. They said, nah, that ain't swinging it. So I'm sure he's not going to give up on that. But what's going on here? This is a branch of government. Well, within the same, because it's all the executive branch. Remember, the FBI works at the president's behest. So all these people are kind of, quote unquote, it's governmental. They work for the government, but he's the boss of the government. So these are kind of, quote, his employees, man. But ever since he fired Comey, because Trump made some moves, man. Because remember, Comey was somebody's piece. Remember the
Mm,
chessboard? He was somebody's piece. Somebody worked hard to get him in that position. Somebody was
hmm
getting a lot of benefits from him being in that position. So now Trump is going to throw a ego tantrum. Oh, this guy doesn't smile as much when I'm in the room with him, or he doesn't wink when I tell him, "Hey, you one of our guys," or whatever. I'm gonna get rid of him. So when you upset powerful people, that's when you run the risk if you're a powerful person. So he disturbed the hornet's nest. So I think the raiding of the office, that was still something they had in their bag of tricks. You're president, but guess what? We got some stuff you don't even know about yet. And if
mm,
they, how much more dirt can they get on you than to raid your that's like raiding your bookie's house. They're gonna know what bet you made, how much you lost, when you said you was gonna pay. So all of the information is going to be there. And I think this could have been the ultimate first step to a coup d'etat. There are forces, again, very powerful, very wealthy, that are trying to get him out. I
hmm
think this is just a battle on a very high level because he got in there. Obviously, he wouldn't have got in there if he didn't please a certain group. And now I just think the people he's offending are just as powerful as the people he's protecting. So
hmm
it's like one of those things. Who is going to win out? And
You, you know it's funny. I watched a show called House of Cards with what's his name, Kevin Spacey, where the show's ended because of his child molestation allegations and things like that.
right,
But he
right.
was basically in the show like a senator who ended up becoming vice president and then ended up becoming president of the United States, and all through dirty dealings. Every aspect from him to get to that power was through murder, through all types of like rape, all different types of like the worst things you could think of for this
Mm-hmm.
person, and then how he showed how he was able to use the internet to control public perception,
Oh,
to
right,
get
right.
him voted in. All of these things, they showed you how dirty the
Facebook,
game is. They
Facebook.
showed you the dirtiest aspects of the game. So when you look at real life, and like you said, the things that people will do to maintain their secrecy, their power, and all of these things, it's no doubt in my mind that all of these guys play a dirty game. Like we talked about it last time we spoke. and we said, I said people with money they could get away with a lot of things, and you said not all the time, but only when it's against people that got the same money and power as them. So that's when situations can happen where they get put in a in a peculiar situation that you never usually see these guys in. So
Mm,
with Cohen and Hannity and Trump, you know what I'm saying? These guys all seem like real dirty players in the game. Like
mm,
these guys been in the game playing dirty for years. Like, and I
mm.
mean, it could go as high as rape, murder, all these things. Like these things aren't far fetched when you listen to how. And I mean, I don't exclude Obama. I don't exclude Hillary. I don't exclude none of them because the political game is a dirty game. So there's no way you go to
Oh man.
hell. You go to hell and expect to just live an angel type life. Tupac said it. I can't be an angel surrounded by devils. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? After a
mm.
while, I get it, and I gotta survive in this harsh environment. How do I survive? You could go in there with a good mentality. Oh, I want to be a good politician, but then you get in there, you become as dirty as the one you trying to take out. You know what I'm saying? So there's nobody who goes into politics without having dirt on their hands. You know what I'm saying? At least from what history has shown us. We could go back to all the presidents, to Nixon and all of these guys. Everybody got dirt on their hands. Everybody got probably blood on their hands. You know what I'm saying? At a high level. So it doesn't really surprise me anything that these politicians do. And but the thing is, do you think? And I know they're working with the judges because for the judge to even allow him to review, I see an article on CNN where it says the judges will allow him to review the things that they want them to review. So it's like for the judge to even give you that, I know they lock me up. They're not letting me get my phone. They're not letting me get nothing. And they're not my lawyer. You know what I mean? They're not
Yep.
letting me do nothing. They trying to expose me and put me 20 years for nothing. So it's like with these guys, they know the judge. They got friends that can talk to influence certain people. So you know, just for like, cause just for the people who don't really know, what do you see is going on with this whole situation? If you could just give me a quick little conclusion on that.
Well, it's this situation has been morphing a little. Now, before I say that, I want to say something I almost forgot to mention, and because we just hit so many good points.
I know.
Yeah, you made the point earlier, or you said you put the question like, all these athletes out here, why can't they get together and they do X, Y, and Z? I didn't want that point to go without mentioning now because we do have the history of that under brother Jim Brown. Now, I mean, a lot of older heads, Jim Brown was a bad man, on the football field as major football star in his era, and he was a very outspoken athlete. And he, like during the time, same era that Muhammad Ali took his stand. So he got maybe, I think, 10, 15 rather prominent athletes. It was Lou Alcindor, Jabbar. Muhammad Ali was there. And the faces, if you saw the picture, because they had meetings, the athletes would know a lot of those folks. One of the standouts who didn't believe in it was Wilt Chamberlain, and some interesting things kind of tended to follow his life along the way. But he was, I guess you would call one of the earlier Uncle Tom, like, yo, y'all shouldn't be doing this. And so yeah, I didn't want that statement to go like we've never made that attempt. There's been
Okay.
some very talented athletes that put it all on the line. On the line of Muhammad Ali, Lou Alcindor stood with them, as I said. I believe Will Chamberlain. No, wasn't what? No, it was another. No, okay, so yeah, it was at least 10 to 12 athletes. So yeah, that was attempted. Now your question again was related to the. Could you reiterate it again?
With the lawyer, the Michael Cohen, and
Uh-huh.
all of this. What are they trying to get out of? Exposing all of this thing. Who is this going to hurt more? Who is this
I think
hurting?
they trying to get the smoking gun. They trying to get the they trying to remove deniability. What has helped Trump avoid, evade, survive is his ability to deny, to lie, to misdirect. I mean, he's done it on a level. I mean, a president that tweets, you don't need a press conference. He's gonna tweet you what I mean. It's just so they're trying to folks that are trying to throw shade on him. They gotta we can't because when he tweets it, they gotta report his tweet. You
Yeah,
can't not report a sitting president's tweet.
facts.
So he's almost like working for them when he don't want them, when they don't want to be working for him. So
Yeah.
it is what I would say, and this I can say for sure, it's a power play. It's a power play on the highest levels of American government, and I think corporate is behind everything that happens here. So it's a major play. Now there are forces, trying to keep him in, and forces trying to get him out. Now how far they're going to go, and how ruthless are these forces? Because a la JFK, you'd be surprised if things get hectic enough. I mean, these people have shown, if they'll protect their interests, nobody's life is
Mhm.
is more valuable than their interest in their staying in power.
Yeah,
So
Abraham Lincoln too. He caught one in the back of the head too.
right, but how powerful and how ruthless are those people who want to get him out? Are they half-hearted about it? I mean, do they own set parts of the media? Can they embarrass him? Can they make him look bad? Can they turn public opinion away from him? Maybe that's as much power as they have, because they're definitely trying to do that. But then there's folks that will put you in a box. It's like, oh, okay, we tried. I mean, again, gangsters. All right, get him out of there. Where? Okay, he visited us when. Okay, are our boys in the CIA in place? Because a lot of stuff is internal, man. They talk about foreign agents. No foreign government's going to roll up in anything up in here in the United States and get anything done. If somebody's getting taken out, it's an internal thing that they're going to try to put outside fingerprints on it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the powerful don't get knocked unless somebody else powerful is knocking them.
hmm Yeah, nah, yeah, I've seen some great documentaries, like you going back to Kennedy. I've seen how, a lot of these guys, like I think the Bush family, just certain people who was involved, you know what I'm saying? Nixon and just all the people who may at least have known, who had intel, who understood, who knew the playing fields. When you connect the dots and you start to see, what feathers they were ruffling, you know what I'm saying? To get
Mm-hmm.
to that point. Now, when you speak about this being a power play to, is this a power play to hurt Trump or to help Trump with the whole uncovering? Is this something that's to hurt him, like to uncover something that he may have done, said, or is this something that you see could be negative towards him? Because everything's been negative towards Trump.
Well, see, that's the power battle. For those who want the interest he's serving, for those he's serving it for, those are the one they're trying to protect. These are the powerful people that are saying, yo, we got your back. But there are just as powerful or somewhat powerful people who want him out because he is speaking against their interests. He
Mm,
is not fulfilling the agenda. He's too unpredictable, too unorthodox. We can't control him. What are the reasons? There are powerful entities that want to remove him. Again, how far and how ruthless are they about the removal? Will they use their sources in media? Will they use their sources related to finance? Will they use their sources in military? And military can be CIA, FBI, SWAT teams, snipers, or plants. And media could be finding 5 more hookers who had affairs with him, like this ex porn star. I mean, these things aren't happening by accident. So they're showing we can embarrass you to no end. We can have people thinking you are mentally incompetent, that you're a brute. I mean, he could be some of those things, but then again, whatever he is, they can make him 10 times worse. So
mm,
so, and if that's all they're going to do, and if he weathers that, but if they're like, okay, this ain't working, we got to get him out.
hmm
Go to the bat phone. You know what that means. And then, but if there's corporate interest that's like, no, you're not going to take this one. We're betting everything on him. And it's who is the most powerful. And the people, what story can they sell to us? Because once it's over, they're going to have to sell this to us. Just like they knew they had to sell Oswald to us. They had to sell a single shooter to us. The magic bullet that turns in midair. And, all that stuff. But guess what? There was people that bought that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
but there was so much more, there was so much less sophisticated then. There's a sophistication now. People can go online. There are experts willing to speak out. This stuff with
yeah.
9/11, this thing about this petition, something like 2,000 engineers. I mean, board certified. People that have been building buildings their whole 2,000. So what you are saying is against physics, man. 1,000 engineers, man. So I mean, wow. What else could you have to bring into question or doubt? But these people are so ruthless. They're going to do what they want. Then they'll figure out a way to sell you the story later. But at the end of the day, they're going to protect their interests.
Nah, brother Smalls. I mean, this is something that I definitely want to stay developed on. You know, we got a couple stories that are continuously happening, so we want to stay on top of it. I'm gonna
Yes,
go back
yes.
and make sure that we retouch and add on to some of the things that we've talked about throughout the week.
Yes, and I didn't get a chance to ask you off air. I might as well ask you on air, and I don't know what your answer is, but you know, Sharpton's convention is coming up. There's going to be some pretty major players down there. It starts. There's a dinner tomorrow, but that's not. I don't believe part of the workshops. The workshops, I believe, is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So I don't know if your schedule permits any of those days, man. But if we can get in the mix together, if not, I'm rolling down there solo. I'm definitely going to get some good interviews with.
Saturday would be the best day for me to link.
Okay.
Definitely. And you know, I got an event, you know, like, on Sunday, if you could make it, you know what I'm saying, out here in Long Island. It's a battle rap event, you know what I'm saying? Some two new guys up and coming and giving a chance and opportunity to some of the guys from the neighborhood to come and show their skills so I could, you know, put them out there for the people to check them out if they got some skills, just, you know, whatever it is. I'm gonna have some dancers out there, so it's gonna be an interesting day, you know, representing hip hop and just, you know, unity, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, guys can come and battle each other. Everybody come through, show love, and it's all peace. So that, you know, that definitely should be a good event. But I definitely want to stay connected with some of these stories because these are very interesting. I want us to bring some more facts to the table. You know, and I got this video I'm going to send you as well, talking about athletes, talking about Muhammad Ali, Mayweather, and some of the backdoor deals or certain things that some guys had to make, maybe sacrifices that they had to make. Even Ali, I want to get your opinion on what you think about this. We can speak about it next time, if anything. And yeah, Brother Smalls, I appreciate your time as always, man. I had a good time today. It was fun, and I want to continue to build.
Same here. And I like the way you stretch my mind. Your perspective always sheds light at an angle that I may not have thought of or seen prior to speaking with you. So that's a good ability. We're going to continue bringing information. Key of Life Productions, Hip Hop is Real, Steel Talk, and Iron Responses. We are going to be pushing very strong information and very clear guidance as to what is needed to be done in these troubled times.
Definitely. And we definitely want to bring some more guests, maybe some experts in certain fields, just to, you know, enlighten us a little bit more so we could give more insight. Yeah, Brother Smalls, thank you again.
All right. So give my regards to Genuine Pro. You brothers have a safe and enjoyable remainder of the evening.
And the channel you choose. Propaganda, visual cancer. The eye in the sky, number 5 on the dial. Secret agenda, frequency antenna, Dr. Mindbender. Remote control, soul controller. Your brain holder, slave culture, game's over. What's a fox characteristic? Slick shit, censored, misinformation. Pimp the station, overstimulation. Reception, deception, Comcast, digital Satan.